Okay, so the second thing that we have to get ready for the entrance exam, we'll start with solving equations. So we want to solve for x. We're using the same idea with our order of operations, PEMDAS here. We're going to do our parentheses and really our multiplication first. I've got 2x plus 2 if I distribute equals 6. I subtract 2 on both sides, 2x equals 4. I divide by 2, and I get x equals 2. Okay, should be able to do ones like that, as well as in the second one here, we're just combining like terms. So if it's on one side and you need to move it to the other, you do the opposite. So I'm going to do minus 2x to both sides. I get 2x minus 16 equals 8. I'm going to add 16 to both sides. I get 2x equals 24. Now I divide by 2, and I get x equals 12. Okay. Some of the tougher ones, a lot of times they'll put on there is something like this, where you've got a proportion. I think we did talk about this earlier in the year. You've got this proportion here, and you're going to cross multiply. Okay. So you want to cross multiply, so these two and these two. So I'm going to have 4x equals 24, and now I have something that I know, and I get x equals 6. And the last one, we want to divide by 2, then take the square root. So I'm going to divide by 2, so I get x by itself. I get x squared equals 16. Now I get x equals the positive and negative square root of 16. So there's always two answers with ones like these. I get x equals 4 and x equals negative 4. So always two answers with x squared. Okay. Moving on to the next one. We've got graphing lines, and they'll ask you about this too, and this should be something that you remember. So this is just both of these are in y equals mx plus b, which means that you're going to start at y equals negative 6, and your slope here is 2 over 1, which means you're going to go up 2 and to the right 1. So I'm going to do this one in blue. You can see it. I'm starting at negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I start down here. Negative 6. I can put a dot there. And I'm going to go up 2 and to the right 1. Up 2 and to the right 1. You just need a couple points, and then you're going to put your line through. Same thing for this one here. I have a start at y equals 1. I've got a slope of negative 3 over 2, which means I'm going to go down and to the right. So the top one, the positive or negative, changes your up and down. You're always going to the right. I'm going to do this one in green. So I've got 1. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and over to the right 2. 1, 2, 3, over to the right 2. And then I've got plenty of points, and I can go from there. Okay, it's just graphing basic lines, and the reason we need to do that is because if we want to solve a system, we also can have that as one of our options. So for solving a system, you can graph both lines. The point of intersection is your answer. And it's going to be an ordered pair x comma y. All of these are going to be an ordered pair answer. If I want to use substitution, so this is doing it out algebraically, I can solve for one variable in one equation, and I want to substitute it. Substitute value into the other equation. And you've got to substitute it back as well. So your answer should still be x comma y. So don't solve just one time and be done. You still need to get the other one and substitute it back in. And the last one, elimination, probably the least one that you use, is you're going to add the equations on top of one another. One another to eliminate a variable. Okay, then you'll have to use substitution here anyways, then substitute for other, so that you still get an answer that's x comma y. Okay, and we'll look at two examples of these. I'm not going to do a graphing one. Essentially, the one before was a system here where your answer would have been 2, -2 for these two equations here to graph them. So I'm not going to do one of those. But when you have these here, we already have this equal to y, so I can substitute y here, 2x plus x plus 3 equals 5. So I took this here and I substituted in for this y, which became this. Now I just combine like terms. I've got 2x plus x plus 3. I can get rid of my parentheses. 3x plus 3 equals 5. 3x equals 2, whoops. 2x equals, I got ahead of myself, 2x equals 2/3. So that's part of my answer. I've got to substitute that back in. So I'm going to go to the top. I've got y equals 2/3 plus 3. I've got like y equals 2/3 plus 9/3. I just changed it, which equals 11/3. So not great, but my answer here as an ordered pair would be 2/3, 11/3. And you can do these as decimals as well. Okay, so substituting one in for the other. This one I'm going to use elimination here, and that's because I see that I have a -2 and a +2 for y. So if I just add these together, I end up with 6x plus 0 equals 12. So I really got 6x equals 12, x equals 2. Now I still have to substitute this back in to get my y value into either equation. So I'll just use the top one. I've got 8 minus 2y equals 10, -2y equals 2, y equals -1, which means that my answer for this as an ordered pair would be 2, -1. Okay, I know I did that really fast. Rewatch if you need to, or see if you can find some other videos for these.